Awesome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Beach Connection session with our lovely parking and transportation team. So, we're going to talk about all things parking, transportation, sustainable transportation on campus, and hopefully a little bit of the BeachGO app as well. So, we're excited to share some of those things with you all. If you don't already know who I am, I'm Nina Luxon. I'm the program coordinator for new student and family programs. So, if you have already attended parent orientation, you've likely already seen me. So, welcome back. We're really happy to have everybody joining us today for this Beach Connection session. Okay, so before we officially begin throughout today's session, if you have any questions, we definitely want you to submit your questions because at the end we will do a live Q&A. So we'll start with a presentation from our parking team, and then at the very end we'll do a live Q&A. If you do have questions, please take a look at the bottom of your screen to see where it says more with three dots, and in there is the Q&A section. So if you have questions, please submit your questions to the Q&A box, not the chat box. Please submit them to the Q&A box. It makes it a lot easier for us to make sure that we're answering everybody's questions and to watch them all. So definitely submit your questions into the Q&A box if you can, just so we can keep track of everything. And then lastly, if everybody could please remain muted throughout today's presentation, that would be really helpful just to minimize distraction and allow everybody to get their questions answered. But with that, I think we're good to officially go ahead and begin. I will hand it over to Chad and Stephanie to begin their presentation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chad Keller. I'm the communication specialist here in Parking and Operations. I'm going to share my screen. There we go. Get it in presentation mode. I'm joined by Stephanie Gonzalez. She's our Sustainable Transportation Coordinator. Together, we're going to give you all things parking. We'll give you a brief overview of parking services, and then my goal is to get through the presentation as quickly as we can so that we can make as much time for your questions as possible. So without further ado, I'll tell you about what we'll talk about in our presentation. We're going to talk about a little bit about parking fees, why there is parking fees, why we charge for parking on campus. We'll talk about driving to campus and some considerations when you drive to campus. Stephanie is going to address riding to campus, which is going to involve not driving to campus, the many different ways of alternative and subsidized transportation and the discounts that are associated with those of getting to campus without a vehicle. And then we'll hopefully have a lot of time for your questions. So why are we going to talk about this topic is parking is one of the most asked about topics on campus. And the reason is it's going to affect 100% of our students. So 100% of our students will travel to campus at some point. Even if you're a fully online remote student, you're going to have to come to campus to go to the bookstore, to get your cap and gown, to attend an affinity group or a campus club. At some point, you're going to come to campus, and you need to know how to do that and how things are structured on campus. So if you're driving to campus, we want you to know where you can park and where you can't park, that you need a permit, which permit that you do need, how to get that permit, and where that permit allows you to park. And if you're not going to drive your car to campus, and many students do not, we want you to know all the different sustainable transportation programs that we offer, the resources that are out there for you to get to campus without a vehicle, and the discounts that are available to all of our students. And the other reason why we talk about that is going to be a new concept for most students. A lot of students are used to parking at their high school or community college where things were different. Parking was maybe free or they had it structured differently, and it's going to be a different situation. So we want to get students up to speed as quickly as possible with how parking, the operations on campus function and how they're going to participate in that in order to be successful students. We want them to get to class on time. We want to not negatively affect their quality of life, stress. They have enough things to worry about without worrying about one more thing. So we want to make sure they get that information about parking and about transportation programs early. So why do I need to pay for parking is a question we get pretty frequently. And the reason is there's an education code out there that mandates that the parking program on our campus and all CSU campuses, and actually probably most universities, need to pay their own way. So we don't get money from tuition, we don't get state money, taxpayer money to fund all of our parking operations. We have to generate that revenue ourselves. And the number one way that we get our revenue is from permit sales. So 77% of our revenue comes from permit sales, and we use that to pay for millions of dollars of construction for technology like the Park Mobile app, the website, for our labor, our employees that man the Visitor Information Center, Our shuttles run on that money and a lot of other things. So we have to really stretch that dollar pretty far, and we think we do a pretty great job. But in order to do that, to remain compliant with this education code in California, is we do need to earn money somehow. Most of that's going to come from permit sales. A small portion, less than 10%, comes from citations, and then some various other things that we have as far as investments. Our reserve accounts are held with a bank, and that account earns interest very slowly. And so you'll see a 1.2% or 0.5% in there as well. But no tuition money, no state funding, no student fees. So I like to say that parking is one of the more fair systems on campus, because you might never go to study in the library, you might never work out in the gym, but you will be charged a student fee regardless. So parking, you actually don't need to pay us anything unless you use the parking facilities. So if you don't park in our parking structures or you don't park in the parking lots, you never need to talk to us. You never need to pay us anything. You can use one of the discounted bus passes or a bike or some other form of transportation, but you don't need to pay the fee if you're not using the facilities that we offer. There's some restrictions on our revenue. We cannot make a profit. So a lot of people, another comment we get is, they're getting rich off my parking fees, or they're getting rich off my citations. We just can even the books out at the end of the year. We fund our reserves in case for catastrophic weather events or things like a pandemic. We have certain reserve accounts, but outside of that, we'll just freeze the fees like we're doing this year. Inflation goes up every year, but our parking fees do not go up every year. We'll freeze them. And eventually, if we did make something in a large amount surplus of our expenses, our operational expenses, we would decrease parking fees. So that's a little bit of information about that. So I'll talk about driving to campus before we get into the alternative ways of not driving to campus. But we have different lots on campus. There's general lots, which are commonly known as our student lots. There's employee lots for employees, and then resident lots are for our on-campus residents who have a resident permit. So that resident lots are the most exclusive. They're only for the resident permits that employees can't park in there, and commuter permits can't park there. General lots are open all the time, but the employee lots are only restricted to employees during working hours. So that's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. So outside of that, actually all the lots on campus turn into general lots. So it's one of our parking tips, and I'll talk more about that later. So this is just an overhead view of the campus to show how many parking lots that we have. And so it's basically half the campus. So it's a lot of infrastructure that we're in charge of in parking and transportation services, and it takes a lot of money to keep that infrastructure up to date and safe. And that small lot over there on the left is the beachside campus lot, and we're in charge of that as well. So we have different permits for coming on campus as part of the 77% revenue that we earn is through these different permits. They're basically broken up by the amount of time you'll be parking on campus, anything from as low as 30 minutes all the way to a full semester or full academic year. And the resident permit at the bottom is the most expensive because it also covers overnight parking privileges. All the other permits are required to depart the campus by 11:59 p.m., but the resident permit can park overnight and on weekends. And we also sell motorcycle permits for those who want to drive a motorcycle to campus. Some things we do to mitigate the parking demand that happens at the beginning of the semester. So we see a spike in parking demand and a spike of traffic on campus the first 4 weeks of the fall semester. But it's not actually for the whole 4 weeks. It's actually from Monday through Thursday and just for certain hours of those days. And I'll get into more of that later. But during that time, we do have an increased demand of more students coming to campus than would normally be here otherwise later in the semester. And that's for a variety of reasons. Students are on campus longer as they meet with advisors, as they purchase books, or they attend kickoff events like Week of Welcome or Smorgasbord. They would be on campus longer than they would be later when they're just maybe coming to campus and studying. So that's the time, the most critical time of the year is the first 4 weeks, which is coming up for fall semester. But in order to offset that, we do offer a discounted overflow lot permit, and that's what this is. Students that choose to park off campus at a designated lot, it switches based on what lots become available to us and how we negotiate with them for price. But this fall, it'll be at the Gas Lamp Kitchen and Grill, which is located on PCH in Loynes. And we'll give you $109 off your semester permit if you choose to park there for just 5 weeks. After 5 weeks, you can come back to campus and park anywhere you like, but you can still enjoy your discount. We offer free shuttle service to and from that location every 15 minutes, And still with that permit, you're allowed to come to campus Friday through Sunday. And then again, after September 24th, it functions as a regular semester student permit. That's kind of what it looked like last time. We have the overflow shuttles coming to pick up students, and it's just 1 mile from campus and drops off conveniently on upper campus, which is where a lot of the academic buildings are and where a lot of students are trying to get to. So it's pretty convenient. It was popular last year. I'll turn it over to Stephanie, who's going to talk about a new program that we're launching this fall called First Month Free.
Thanks, Chad. And hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Gonzalez, the Sustainable Transportation Coordinator. And so this program is another effort to kind of keep as many cars off campus as possible and to eliminate some of that stress for the first 4 weeks of the semester. And so we are offering a discounted permit through this program for students who specifically ride the bus to campus the first 4 weeks of the semester, and then also do not purchase any form of parking within that time period. So any daily permits, short-term permits, and then once the program is over at the end of those 4 weeks, they will have a significant discount on their semester parking permit, or they will have a bus pass that they can continue to use throughout the semester if they find that that's a bit more convenient for them. So the 30-day bus pass is $40, and that's why the reimbursement is $40. The cost for the 150-day, or what we call the semester bus pass, is $100. And so if they do purchase that one, they can still get the $40 reimbursement, essentially getting a semester of transportation for $60. And that includes unlimited taps, and Long Beach Transit goes throughout the entire city, but also to a number of neighboring cities. So this ends up being a really great opportunity for students to just test out the bus and see how it works for them, and to also not have to deal with all of the stresses of understanding parking, looking for spaces, and kind of dealing with those first few weeks of traffic.
Thank you. And Cal State Long Beach is not unlike any other destination where a lot of people are converging on one place at the same time. If you think of Dodger Stadium or SoFi Stadium or other areas that have a specific event that everybody comes at once. So in order to create more space and to, shift that demand, is we use shared transportation, buses that carry 30 people rather than cars that carry one. So just another program in order to, accommodate that demand, which again is only temporary during those first 4 weeks. Okay, some other aspects of driving to campus is we have dedicated drop-off zones. So these are zones that keep cars and pedestrians away from busy streets, where we have 9 different bus lines and 3 or 4 different shuttle lines that pass. So right here, you'll see a picture of the Go Beach letters. This is a very common and popular illegal drop-off zone. So we'll have cars here that'll park and they'll wait for their students or their pedestrians to pick up, and they'll block a bunch of bus lines. And then you'll have people walking into a busy street trying to board a bus. There's ADA considerations where wheelchairs can't get at access vans. So in order to alleviate that, we've created other zones around campus that are much more convenient, but we all, a lot of times drivers maybe don't know where those zones are or that we have them. So this is where they are around campus. We have a campus interactive map where you can toggle on and toggle off the location of different things on campus. One of those things would be drop-off zones. So you'll see them here. They're cutouts with additional curb cuts, ramps, things that make it easier to get in and out of a vehicle. And there are also areas where it can accommodate multiple vehicles, where other parts of campus, other roadways, if you pull over, you're going to block a lane of traffic and perhaps get a citation. So this is a visual of what those look like. There's one right there by the liberal arts buildings and the CSULB library. There's also a 15-minute waiting area. It functions like a cell phone waiting area at an airport. So we have dedicated spaces right in front of the CSULB library where you can wait without purchasing a permit. You can pull in there for 15 minutes, make contact with your passenger, Once you have contact with them, you can move forward to one of these different drop zones and pick them up. But just again, another feature, another resource that we provide to people to alleviate some of the things that we see on campus, like putting hazard lights on and just pulling over in the middle of the road. So we want to keep everybody safe, especially pedestrians, and this is one of the ways of doing that. Another aspect of driving to campus is we use a system called license plate recognition. This eliminates a lot of waste. It's a paperless form of enforcing our permits. When I first started at the university in 2015, we mailed a permit to every single person who bought one. So not only did we make plastic hang tags and thousands of stickers, but we also used thousands of envelopes and stamps to send them to people. So once we did use the paperless system, license plate recognition, we saved a lot of paper waste and plastic waste, but we also just made a lot of additional features for students where they can swap their permit out. Before, if you wanted to change the vehicle on your permit, say you bought a new car or you were using a loaner or a rental vehicle, a few cars in the shop, you'd have to go to the parking office and apply for a temporary pass, and then someone would have to issue it to you. It was a lot more steps. Now you can do that almost real time on your phone using the license plate recognition system. Sometimes we get questions of, I paid for my permit, my class is tomorrow, where's my permit? It hasn't arrived. So, we like to tell students, again, like, you don't have to wait for anything. Nothing's going to arrive in the mail. Your license plate will function as your parking permit. As soon as you purchase your permit and you enter in your license plate information in our online system, it's almost instantaneous that our system will recognize your plate now and that you have a valid permit associated with your plate. And that's what our readers look like. They're on the top of our enforcement vehicles. They can read license plates, I think, up to 35 miles an hour as they're passing through a parking lot. So it's a very efficient system. We like to use our social media channels as a way to get the message out to students. So if you haven't already, please follow CSULB Parking. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. And we do a series of parking tips at the beginning of every semester. We also answer direct messages or comments or any questions students have. It's almost like a real-time chat bot if you send us a DM on Instagram, because our employees will see that and they'll write back to you with the answer. And that's kind of what our parking tips look like. Again, we put them at the beginning of every semester with the most commonly misunderstood items about parking on campus and some common, maybe little known facts or parking hacks of how to park effectively on campus. Some of the tips we talk about is upper and outer e-lots after 5:30. We warn people about the first 4 weeks of campus. If you're not really expecting them to be different than the other weeks, you need to plan ahead and allow for extra time. We have a program called Donations for Citations. So if you do get a citation issued to you, there's a way to donate to the beach pantry on campus and to get that citation drastically reduced in price. It's only like a $20 admin fee, and then you can donate 5 items to the beach pantry. Our shuttles are free. Sometimes people ask if they need to pay money to take the shuttles. All the shuttles are offered as a service to the students for free. And there's even an app where you can track the real-time locations of all of our shuttles. We have the BeachGO app, which is a free app. Again, another free resource to students. That can, and I'll have Stephanie talk more about that later, but it offers free carpool matching student to student. It will tell you all the different bus stops near you and what the most convenient one would be to reach the campus. There's even walking directions and biking directions for safe paths of travel to campus if you're walking or biking. So it's a very robust app, and we really encourage students to download it and use it. And that monthly permits expire. If you're going to be here all semester, it makes a lot more sense to buy a semester permit or an academic year permit, because students will typically buy a monthly permit, get busy with their classes, and forget to buy the next month and receive a citation. And I didn't buy it. They might give you one, freebie, but it's a lot of times they'll forget to buy the next month too. So if you plan to be here all semester, the semester permit is the way to go. Upper and outer, I will go into that because it kind of looks like this. So this is what we typically see during times of high parking demand on campus. So we'll see very full surface lots, and then people not using the upper floors of the parking structure or the outer lots of campus. Everyone wants to go right to where their academic building is and try to find parking in the front row, and they don't find it. So they'll circle and circle and circle until they do find parking in that one lot. So Again, just like Dodger Stadium, if you get there 3 hours before the opening pitch, you'll probably park right in the front. If you get there somewhere in the third inning, you'll probably be somewhere way in the back. If you get to campus somewhere around 10 a.m., 11 a.m. during those first 4 weeks, you're going to be somewhere in the upper floors or somewhere way out in the outer lots because the people that get to campus first are going to take the spots closest to the center of campus. But there are open spaces typically at all times of campus, but these are where they're at. Again, so this is 10:45 a.m. That's in August on a Thursday. That's about as peak time as we would see. Fall semester, first 4 weeks, 10:45 a.m. And you can see we have very full surface lots, and the top floors of the parking structures are all empty, completely empty, hundreds of spaces open. So try to direct people, go park there. You'll park immediately, and you'll get to class in 15 minutes rather than circling for hours. All right, I'll have Stephanie handle the discounts that are available to not drive to campus.
Great. Um, I'll start with some reasons why students should consider not driving to campus. The big one is it's much less expensive. So I know that being a college student, you typically don't have much money, and so you can save a lot of money by not driving here. There's a lot of great options that save you the permit fees, the gas, car payment, insurance, all of those things. So a lot of students end up opting to leave their car at home if they've got one and using other modes of transportation. As I mentioned earlier, the traffic is also pretty bad. And as Chad just went over, the space hunting is a real thing. So you eliminate that and then you actually get quicker access to upper campus where most of the academic buildings are. So it's a lot more convenient if you take the bus or ride your bike. And so those are some, I don't know, I guess reasons why students should really consider not driving. Um, and then I'll also go over the BeachGO app, which is our campus transportation app. And so that's like Chad mentioned, it's kind of a multi-purpose app. So there's a few different features on there. One of them is that you can find routes to school, and then you can select what method of transportation you want to use. So if you're looking to bike, it'll pull up some safe bike routes. If you are looking to take the bus, it'll tell you which routes to take. It has information on route tracking and all of that information. So it's very helpful in that regard. Um, it's also an opportunity for students to match with other students to find carpool buddies. So you can sign up. You can only sign up as a student using your student email account. So that's the verification so that it is only students that are in there. And then once they have their address, it'll match you with potential carpool buddies that are commuting from a similar area as you. You can also put in your schedule to kind of see if timing works out as well. And you can message other students and find someone that potentially you could carpool with and kind of split the cost of gas and all those other fees. So um, those are some of the big features of the app. Another thing is that you can actually track all of your rides. So every ride that you track, you get points. So if you take the bus, you get a certain number of points for that trip, kind of as a reward for choosing sustainable transportation methods. And you can use those points to enter raffles for gift cards and purchase different on-campus rewards. So that's a great app to have just as a resource. The last big thing that you'll find on there, also in the rewards section, is the discount code for the Long Beach Transit Bus Pass. So that's something that's only available if you use your student email address and verify your account. And you can find that in the rewards section. So then this is kind of just a quick look of what that looks like. On the left there, that's one of the Long Beach Transit buses, if you're not familiar with that. If you've visited campus, you may have seen those going around. On the bottom right, those blue bikes are all over campus and actually all over the city. So we have a bike share program that's run by the city of Long Beach. And I'll go into a little bit more detail on that in a minute, but you can actually find those locations as well on the BeachGO app. So here's a little bit more detail on some of the discounts that are available to students and many of them through the app. So as I mentioned, the bike share, that one you can get up to 90% off. Most students qualify for the um, highly discounted rate. They have a student rate, but then they have an even further discounted rate. And most students do qualify for that if they're getting any sort of financial aid or anything like that. And the cost is $5 a year, and that gets you up to 90 minutes per day of the bikes. So you unlock the bike, and then you can ride that for 90 minutes each day. Then there's the bus pass. So the 30-day bus pass costs $40, as I mentioned earlier, and then the 150-day or semester bus pass costs $100. So that's the discount code that I mentioned is on the app. We've also got Zip cars on campus. Those offer a big discount. For those who are not familiar, those are a rental car, and those are actually available to people that are 18 and older with a valid license. So not the traditional 26 age limit. We've got 4 of those that are parked on campus at all time, and those have a yearly, like a fee, or you can do monthly or yearly, and then you can rent them by the hour. You can rent them for a couple days. So if they're wanting to go to the beach for a few hours and take a car instead of the bus, that's an option. Or if they want to head home for the weekend to have a home cooked meal, they can also use it for that. So that's a really good option for students who choose to not bring a car, but maybe want to use one every once in a while. For those who are commuting and have either an electric vehicle or a hybrid vehicle, um, a plug-in hybrid. We do have charging stations on campus, so we have over 60 of those, and those can be found on our interactive campus map and also on the BeachGO app. And there's discounted charging through ChargePoint. So you would set up your account there and have access to the discounted charging. Carpooling, uh, that's 50% off because you get to share the costs with your carpool partner, which you can find through the BeachGo app. So that's a great option as well. Um, and then walking, of course, that's walking, skateboarding, biking, active transportation. Those are great ways, especially for people who live within 2 miles of campus. Um, Typically, a bike ride of about 2 miles is like 15 minutes. So, considering the time that it would take you to drive here and then look for parking, plus probably a 10 to 15-minute walk to class, you could actually probably get here quicker just walking or biking over here. So that's an option that we really want to emphasize that is available and is a really great way for students to get here, kind of clear their head, get some exercise, and save some money. And then once they arrive on campus, as Chad mentioned, we've got the campus shuttles. Those are going from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Friday, and those are free to all students, staff, and faculty. So they just have to show their campus ID, and all of those maps are available on our website. And then lastly, the pickup and drop off zones that Chad mentioned. We've got 8 of those. And so that's another way for students to not have to pay for parking or drive themselves. And then here's another photo of one of the Long Beach Transit buses at one of the bus stops that's on campus. So it might look familiar. This one's over by the Hillside dorms. And then on the top right, that's just an image of the tap card. So the students can actually have their tap card to access the Long Beach Transit bus pass, either on their phone through an app, or they can come into our office, which is over by the pyramid parking structure, and they can get a physical tap card if they prefer that method. And that gives them all of the access they need to ride Long Beach Transit. And then here's what to look for if they're looking for the zip cars. So the rental cars that are on campus, there's the green sign above the parking spaces. You can see the locations on the website on our map. But the students also use an app for that that unlocks the car for them once they've reserved it. And the cost for that actually includes gas and insurance, which I forgot to mention earlier. So they've got a card in there that they use when purchasing the gas. So you pay the hourly fee or daily fee, and then that includes all of those things.
Okay, so I'll talk about the big takeaways from the presentation. One's 100% of the students are going to need to know this information. So whether they're going to drive to campus and park, or whether they're going to take one of the many discounted forms of sustainable transportation, we'd like them to know this information, because my worst thing as a communicator, I'm a communication specialist, is to be working at Week of Welcome at our info table and a student to approach me, learn about the bus pass, and be like, man, that is a great program. I'd never heard of it. And they're a third-year student. So, we have our website, we have social media, we do a lot of tabling events to get this information out to our 40,000 students as best we can. But we really thank you guys for attending this presentation, because you're part of now the information, the people that know the information and can transmit it to your students and to other students at the campus. There's lots of discounts out there, free services, like our shuttles and everything like that. We say never pay full price as a student. There's a lot of further discounts that we provide. You'll have a student rate at Long Beach Transit, and then you'll have our rate, which is even further discounted below that. Same thing with bike share. There's a regular student rate, and then our rate, which is further below that. So never pay full price as a student. Look for the discounts on our website, and if you don't know, please ask us. So that's the last thing here, is ask us questions. We know that when there's information gaps, there's a lot of speculation about what that information is. Sometimes there's even conspiracy theories about why we charge fees, how much money we make on citations. So just ask us, and we're here to help and get you the answer that you need. We have our parking website. You can Google it. ChatGPT is getting better and better every day. We have a chat bot in all of our websites on campus called Ask LB. That'll put your question in there, and it'll direct you to the website with the answer. You can send us a DM on social media, and a person will see it and respond with your specific answer, or you can send us an email or call the office. That's it for our presentation. There are some questions over here in the question and answer section. I can go through that if you want. You can just read them out loud, or we can just start taking questions, whatever you prefer. I'm just going to start by answering some of the questions that were written in the box, I think. Yeah? Okay. Yeah. So some of the questions we got so far is regarding overflow. Is that expected to fill up also in the first 2 weeks? So the answer is no. The overflow permit, when you purchase that permit, it guarantees you a spot at the overflow lot. That's one of the benefits of using that permit, is you will have a spot as soon as you get to that lot. It won't get full, because we limit the number of permits for that lot. And we always kind of conservatively sell those permits, so we never fill that lot up completely. So it's a great deal. It's a discounted permit, and it's a guaranteed spot when you show up. Another one is there a specific location to park during move-in day? There are. Student housing has reserved lots nearby those dorms that they're free to use during the move-in day. No permit is required. But sometimes the misconception is, well, that applies to campus-wide. I'll go move in, then I'll go to the library, and I'll go to the theater, and I'll check out my classes. So it's not free everywhere on campus. It is free around the designated lots for move-in during those days. Can students with resident permits park in any lot? Pretty much. The only lot you can't park in with that permit, that is the most unrestricted permit we have, is employee lots during employee hours. But outside of that, you can park in the 2 resident lots that have spaces reserved for resident permits. You can park in any general lot, including the 3 parking structures, and you can park in employee lots after 5:30 p.m. on weekdays and all day on Saturday, Sunday, and holidays. There is another question about Oh, for the bus pass, is it better for students to use the 30-day free pass first before buying the discounted full year pass? I would say so because that's a new program for us, so might as well use the $40 that we're giving as a reimbursement to see if you like it, and just don't buy a parking permit at the same time, and you'll be eligible for a free 30-day pass, and that'll get you on the bus free of charge. And then after that, if you like it, you can continue with the CSULB student discount, which I said is further discounted below the regular student discount at Long Beach Transit. Another question is, can I bring my own bike or scooter to ride on and out of the campus for free, or would I need to buy a permit to be able to do that? You do not need a permit for your bike or a scooter, but I would ask that you check with University Police about the type of bike or scooter you have in mind, because pedal-powered bikes are fine, certain types of scooters are fine, but because of safety reasons, the throttle powers, certain e-bikes that move very quickly, there's restrictions about those on campus. So you want to find out what they are first. Do free shuttles pick up and drop off at the dorms? And will you please repeat the hours and frequency of the school shuttles? Yes, they do. On-campus dorms and beachside all have shuttles that run for free. There's certain hours of the day. The beachside one now starts earlier, Stephanie. I think 6:30 a.m. is the beachside shuttle start time. The other ones, I believe, start at 7. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to put the website in the chat here, which is just csulb.edu/shuttle. And that'll have the specific times if I'm not remembering them correctly. Is there a shuttle on the weekend, particularly for beachside? Stephanie, do you know the answer to that one? It's Friday, right?
Yeah, just Monday through Friday for the beachside shuttles. So a lot of the students there end up getting a Long Beach Transit bus pass, just if they're looking to go places on the weekends.
Okay, great. And then is there any student discount for the OCTA bus for CSULB students? Go ahead, Stephanie.
Yeah, so we don't have a direct partnership with OCTA, but they do offer student discounts. And so we also have that information on our website, which you can find through the link that Chad is adding on there. On the side tab, there's more information on all of that. But there is the link there. LA Metro also offers a student discount that CSULB students can take advantage of.
And the last question in the Q&A box is, for parking on the SOAR day, will there be signs for my parent to park and drop me off? There will be plenty of SOAR signs out there if you're coming for SOAR. There's no fee for parking at SOAR. It's included in your SOAR fee. And the parking area designated for SOAR parking is the pyramid parking structure on the first floor. It says, will there be a place for them to stay in that parking lot, or do they have to go back and forth? If it's the car associated with SOAR, just go ahead and park it in that parking lot. You can come and go as you like, or you can stay in the parking lot, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was going to say is if you're a student and your parent is coming for parent and family orientation, as long as if you all ride together in one vehicle, then they can be covered in the SOAR parking lot. So, and as Chad said, there's signage that indicates where SOAR parking is in the pyramid parking structure. So just follow the signs when you come to campus for SOAR.
Okay, those are all the typed in questions. Are there any other questions, verbal questions, or questions you can continue to type in the chat or the Q&A box as well?
There was a question that was put in the chat, but please, again, submit your questions in the Q&A, folks. But how much is the pass for residents again?
It was on my slides. I'm gonna ballpark it at 311, but all the permits are online under CSULB.edu/permits. But yes, the semester pass is $259, so $311 for the semester, I think would be correct, but for the exact price, it's going to always be a little bit more than the commuter pass, because you're also paying for the extra time your vehicle is going to be here overnight and on the weekends. And then when can you purchase a resident parking pass? They went on sale on Monday, so all the permits for the semester and academic year are now available for purchase on the parking portal. What if my parent did not want to sign up for parent orientation on the SOAR day? Can they still stay in the parking lot till my SOAR orientation is done?
Latrice is currently answering that question. But for the permits, like you were just saying, the permit website, Chad, I put the link for that in the chat. So if anybody wants to visit that webpage to take a look at all of the permits and their pricings, you can definitely do that by clicking on that link.
Okay, we have another one. Is bike theft a serious problem on campus? I like to get my own bike as I think it may be more convenient than using the campus bike. I think theft is a serious problem on any campus, but that you can register your bike with the university police. We have bike racks. There's a bike cage at Parkside North, an enclosed bike area. But, I think University Police has a lot of great things that they put out every year about how to deter bike theft. And they also have a lock and roll program where if you register your bike with University Police, they will give you a free U-lock, which is, the locks that are most difficult to cut. But I mean, I remember when I was on campus, if somebody really wants your bike, they're probably going to get it, but you need, there's a lot of steps you can take to secure your bike and deter theft on campus. Great questions, though.
What other questions do we have, folks? This is the time to ask. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A so we can answer them while we've still got our parking folks here with us. We did get a question just now in the chat. Is there a cap on the number of commuter parking permits that will be sold?
Not typically. I mean, we monitor the amount of permits that are sold. We get totals at the end of every day. And if for some reason they spiked above a normal semester amount, we would pause parking permit sales. But we haven't had to do that, I think, since 2016. And even when we did it then, it was a 1 day pause and then we reinstated them again. So it's kind of interesting. The same percentage of students purchase the same amount of parking almost every semester. So, but it's something we do monitor, and we would take action if we needed to. If for some reason, the parking behavior of this semester was drastically different than other semesters.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions in the Q&A. Again, folks, I know we keep seeing questions in the chat. Please submit your questions to the Q&A box, not the chat. The chat is not being monitored for questions. It's purely being informative for you if we send links. So please submit your questions into the Q&A. Going into the Q&A, it says, what is the best parking lot for the Los Cerritos dorm?
Depends on your preference. I was going to say one of the big G lots. There's G6, G7, G8 is probably going to be the closest to that dorm. But we do have a campus interactive map. I'll put I'll answer that with, well, I think it was already moved, but csulb.edu/maps will get you to our interactive map. That'll just be an overhead of the entire campus. Again, that's where you can toggle on and toggle off features like the shuttle, like the location of shuttle stops, where your academic buildings are. It's such a fantastic map. I can't talk about it enough. So please go use that, csulb.edu/maps. And that'll let you know where all the general lots are, where all the resident lots are. You can see them all in a very convenient way. Is there a website for bus transportation, like where the buses go, at what times, and when do those buses arrive on campus? You could probably just Google CSULB bus, and it'll send you to our bus webpage. Or you can go to csulb.edu/ride, and that'll give you all the sustainable transportation programs and their discounts. And then on there, we link off to Long Beach Transit, which will give you more of a route maps, because they not only service the city of Long Beach, but they also service Seal Beach, parts of Cerritos, Norwalk, Bellflower, Lakewood. They service outside the city limits of Long Beach. So for their updated service map, that would be the Long Beach Transit website. Is it safe to ride on the bus to go around near campus? What about traveling on the bus to bigger LA, like downtown LA? I love public transportation. I use it all the time. LA, we have a lot of traffic, and the public transportation here is just getting more and more robust every year. They're adding more light rail and buses. So to me, it's very convenient and very safe. I haven't, had an issue using public transportation. Do students who dorm and bring their car get asked to give rides to peers, and they get so tired of that they leave the car home second semester? I'm not sure. Great question. I'd have to see if someone from the dorm would give you their personal experience with that. Nothing that's been brought to our office, but good question. Is there a fee for a non-CSULB to ride a shuttle, i.e. with our students who go somewhere on campus while they are there, or are we not able to use a shuttle? So shuttles are, a resource for students and staff. You're required to present your student ID card or staff ID card for boarding the shuttle. Again, mainly for a safety reason. We have an open campus where there's certain entry points, but there's not a fence around the campus. Anybody can kind of walk on and walk off. So in order to keep our shuttles primarily for the use of the students and the staff, they require an ID card to board. What about car break-ins? Is that common? Is there security driving around to deter car break-ins? We have campus police. They're 24-hour, 7 days a week presence on campus. We also have our parking enforcement officers that are regularly making rounds of all the different parking lots. Again, with any college campus, there is car break-ins and theft. We hope it's at a minimum, and we have certain mitigation efforts to reduce that, but there's plenty of things that you can do to make sure your car is safe when it's parked on campus, like not leaving valuables in plain sight, locking your doors, things of that nature. But again, I don't think our campus is much different than many other campuses in the area. Trying to dissuade my student from bringing her car this first year. I recommend trying sustainable transportation. Try it for 30 days. The worst thing that can happen is you're going to get a free bus pass and a huge discount on your semester parking permit. That'll keep you away from the highest parking demand on campus, which most of the students complain about. I can't find parking during these 4 weeks. That's why we've designed and implemented so many programs and discounts for you to get around that stressor. So please make use of them. What if my student buys a semester parking pass, and then a month into the semester decides to use public instead? Can he get a prorated refund? Yes. We do have parking refunds, and they're prorated based on the amount left on the permit at the time of the refund. So as the semester goes on, you've used more and more of that pass, so the price of the pass refund starts to drop, and at some point in December, the pass isn't worth anything anymore because there's pretty much nothing left of the semester to refund to you. But you can request a parking permit refund at any time. Are there cameras around the parking lots for extra security? There are security cameras. We don't, Parking and Transportation doesn't own those. Those are owned by police. So they have more information about the locations of those cameras and kind of how they operate and monitor them. But there are security cameras on campus. The website for checking where the bus goes when they arrive on campus and where they go is the Long Beach Transit website. Can I get the website to this question? Let's see if Stephanie, if maybe you can find the specific Long Beach Transit tracking website and provide it to that question. Again, every year we used to have to give people specific addresses. I think that's why my communication style is saying www.csu/ride. But a lot of times you could Google your question, and it's really good at getting you to really close to the answer, if not the website, the answer on the first try. So if you just type in Long Beach Transit Bus Tracker, I'm sure a number of things would come up in the first 3 results that would get you there. If the student does the first month with the bus pass and wants to buy a parking pass after that, the cost of the parking pass is discounted. Yes, correct, it is 40% off. Huge discount. So we really want you to stay off campus those first 4 weeks. It's better for the campus. It's a lot better for you, and you can enjoy over $100 off your parking pass by doing so. And that program's called First Month Free. It's on our parking homepage it's right there in the middle on the homepage. And then if you Google First Month Free or ask the chatbot, it'll get you there, and it'll give you all the terms and conditions and how to participate. 23 questions. We did really good. Any other questions out there? I got 10 minutes left.
Is the first month free for staff as well if we do that program, or is it only students?
Unfortunately not. Staff, you have employee lots, and that's your
fair.
benefit.
Any other questions, folks? If you have them, please submit them into the Q&A box so that we can get them answered.
And if you leave this presentation and you're like, I forgot to ask this, just go on social media and send us a direct message. You can ask the LB chatbot, or you can just email, parking directly, or just Google CSULB parking contact, and that'll give you our contact page with all the ways to get a hold of us. But ask the question. If you're confused about something, if someone says, like, we got parking questions, I was like, we have parking answers. Like, what do you want to know? We will direct you there. Oh, yeah, that's, you're looking for this lot. You're looking for this discount. You're looking for this program. Here's a link that you can use to sign up for it. We want to get you connected to the information you need to be successful, because ideally, the bottom line of everything is student success. We want you to get to your class on time without stress so you can learn and get your degree and move your way through the university as you plan.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we see one more question. Will these Q&A questions be published for us to reference later? So unfortunately, our Zoom webinars, the questions actually that were posted will not be able in the transcript form. However, I am putting a few links in the chat currently. So the first link is for parent and family orientation. If you have not attended parent orientation, I would definitely encourage you to attend. It is really helpful. And you learn a lot of information similar to this, but various other campus department information as well. So definitely attend. We have until next week on Wednesday. And then we also have our Beach Family newsletter, which is for parents and families to sign up for. It's our free bi-weekly newsletter that covers everything you need to know about parents and families. As far as accessing this presentation at a later time, the last one link is for our YouTube page. So we record all of our sessions. This session has been recorded. It'll be posted onto our YouTube tomorrow. So if you would like to go back and listen in, access the information again, you can do so on our YouTube. But as far as a formal transcript, it will not be published. So if you would like to attend or watch this again, go to our YouTube page. And I think that's it for now. Do you, Chad or Stephanie, have anything else that you'd like to touch on before we end?
No, I'm just going to reiterate the first 4 weeks. Plan ahead. Don't be surprised. Don't come to the campus with 10 minutes before your class and get stressed out. For just those first 4 weeks, you do have to get here earlier than you would expect, and then go straight to the outer lots or the upper floors of the parking structures if you're somewhere in the middle of the day. That's the only time we experience that heavy parking spike. Week number 5, you can just park like normal. So, but plan ahead for the first 4 weeks, Monday through Thursday of those weeks. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're not going to have a problem. Late in the afternoon, you're not going to have a problem. Early in the morning, you won't. But in the center of those days, please plan ahead because you will see increased traffic and parking demand.
Okay. Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much to Chad and Stephanie from Parking and Transportation Services for jumping on and talking with us today. And again, if you would like to access this presentation, it'll be posted on our YouTube beginning tomorrow. But thank you so much for joining. Great seeing you all, and have a good night.